Think Peru is only known for Machu Picchu and llamas? Wait until you find out about the country where people live on floating islands made of grass, where guinea pigs are a luxury delicacy more expensive than beef, and where there's a canyon twice as deep as the Grand Canyon that nobody talks about. You won't believe what's hiding in South America's most mysterious country. Number 15. Peru has more official languages than most countries have dialects. 47 indigenous languages are legally recognized alongside Spanish. Most people assume Spanish dominates Peru completely, but you heard right. This country officially recognizes 47 different indigenous languages, making it one of the most linguistically diverse nations on Earth. Spanish is spoken by over 80% of Peruvians, but once you travel towards the Amazon jungle, locals speak an additional 13 languages. Picture trying to navigate a country where your GPS might give directions in Quechua, Aymara, or any of dozens of other languages you've never heard of. Think the United States is diverse with just English as the primary language? Peru's linguistic complexity makes the Tower of Babel look simple. Here's the mind-bending part. Some of these languages have fewer than 100 speakers left, meaning entire worldviews and cultural knowledge systems are hanging by a thread. You could spend a lifetime just learning to say hello in all of Peru's official languages, and most Peruvians themselves only speak 2 or 3 of them fluently. Number 14. Guinea pigs in Peru aren't pets. They're luxury food that costs more per pound than premium steak and are served whole at wedding celebrations. Kai is part of the culture, history, mythology, folklore, and everyday life of Peruvians from time immemorial. Forget everything you know about those squeaky classroom pets. It is typically roasted over an open fire and served whole, with the head, feet, and entrails still intact. A single roasted guinea pig can cost $30 at restaurants, making it more expensive than lobster in most Western countries. Wait until you find out that cuy is a beloved dish of the Quechua people and is considered so special that families save for months to serve it at important celebrations. Picture walking into a Peruvian wedding reception and seeing the bride and groom cutting into what looks like a tiny roasted dinosaur instead of cake. You heard right. These aren't emergency survival food. They're premium protein that guests fight over at dinner tables. The irony? While Americans spend billions keeping guinea pigs as pets, Peruvians consider eating them a sign of prosperity and cultural pride. Number 13. Lake Titicaca contains underwater ruins of ancient cities, and people still live on floating islands made entirely of reeds that must be rebuilt every few months. In the 1970s, Jacques Cousteau, a French conservationist, found ruins of a city beneath the surface of Lake Titicaca. But here's where it gets really wild. Today, the descendants of the Quechua people who called this lost city home live on 120 self-made floating islands on the lake. These aren't tourist attractions. They're actual homes where families have lived for generations without ever touching solid ground. Picture your entire neighborhood literally floating on water, bouncing gently with every step you take, while ancient ruins of your ancestors lie submerged directly beneath your feet. The Euros people constantly rebuild these islands because the reeds rot from the bottom up, meaning your house could literally dissolve if you don't maintain it weekly. Sounds unbelievable, but children are born, live their entire lives, and die on these floating communities that can be moved by simply untying them from anchors. Think your housing situation is unstable? These families have been living this aquatic lifestyle for over 500 years, creating a civilization that exists nowhere else on Earth. Number 12. Peru contains a canyon that's twice as deep as the Grand Canyon, yet fewer than 200,000 people visit it annually compared to the Grand Canyon's 6 million visitors. The Cotahuasi Canyon has a depth of more than 3,500 meters. To put this into perspective, this canyon is twice the depth of the United States Grand Canyon. You heard right. There's a geological wonder that makes America's most famous natural landmark look like a crack in the sidewalk, yet it remains virtually unknown to most travelers. Picture standing at the rim and watching condors with 10-foot wingspans soar below you like tiny specks, their massive forms dwarfed by the canyon's incomprehensible scale. Here's the mind-bending part. This canyon is so deep it contains multiple climate zones stacked on top of each other, with tropical vegetation at the bottom and Arctic conditions at the rim. Think the Grand Canyon is impressive? Cotahuasi Canyon makes it look like amateur hour, yet it remains Peru's best-kept secret, because most tourists rush straight to Machu Picchu without realizing they're missing something twice as spectacular just a few hours away. Number 11. Peru has the world's second highest sand dune where you can sandboard down a mountain of sand taller than the Empire State Building. The Cerro Blanco sand dune is the second highest in the world, towering over the Sechura Desert at 1,176 meters. That's nearly 4,000 feet of pure sand. Imagine climbing a skyscraper made entirely of beach sand, then strapping a board to your feet and riding it down like a mountain of powder. When you arrive at the dunes, you can hire a dune buggy or sandboard and spend hours sliding down one of the largest natural wonders in the world. Wait until you find out that this sand mountain exists in one of the driest deserts on Earth, where it hasn't rained significantly in decades yet. The dune maintains its perfect shape through wind patterns that have remained constant for thousands of years. Think Colorado skiing is extreme? Picture hurtling down a sand cliff at 50 miles per hour with nothing but desert stretching to the horizon, knowing that one wrong move sends you tumbling down what's essentially a mountain-sized sandbox. Here's the crazy part. The sand is so fine and the dunes so steep that climbers often sink knee-deep, with every step making the ascent a workout that would humble Olympic athletes. Number 10. The mysterious Nazca Lines cover 190 square miles with massive drawings that can only be seen from airplanes, created by people who had no way to see their own artwork. The Nazca Lines are a display of more than 70 giant human and animal geoglyphs, works of art made by rearranging objects within a landscape. These images are scrawled across the Peruvian terrain near the city of Lima. Here's the mind-blowing part. The ancient Nazca people spent generations creating artwork they could never see completed, using mathematical precision that rivals modern engineering. Today, these lines in the desert plateau between Nazca and Palpa are considered one of the world's greatest archaeological mysteries. Picture spending your entire life working on a masterpiece you'll never fully appreciate, creating straight lines that maintain their direction for over 30 miles across mountains and valleys, without GPS or modern surveying equipment. You heard right. Some individual drawings span 1,200 feet from end to end, larger than most shopping malls, yet were made with such precision that they've survived for over 2,000 years in perfect condition. Some people believe that the Nazca Lines are an ancient alien landing strip, while others think it forms part of a sophisticated astronomical calendar. Think ancient people were primitive? These massive geoglyphs represent artistic and engineering achievement that modern humans struggle to explain, let alone replicate, making them archaeology's most confusing masterpiece. Number 9. Peru has 90 different microclimates within its borders, meaning you can experience Arctic, desert, and tropical conditions all in the same day without leaving the country. One of the most interesting facts about Peru is that it has 90 different microclimates, climates that are restricted to a small area and different from surrounding climates. You heard right. Peru contains more climate diversity than most entire continents, creating weather patterns so extreme they seem impossible. Start your morning surfing in 70-degree Pacific waters, drive 3 hours to snow-capped mountains where temperatures drop below freezing, then continue to Amazon rainforest where humidity reaches 95% and temperatures soar above 90 degrees. Picture packing a swimsuit, winter coat, and mosquito repellent for the same day trip, knowing you'll need all three before sunset. So it's no wonder that the country is home to a wide variety of wildlife and plant species. Here's the shocking part. Some Peruvian communities have never seen snow despite living just 200 miles from glaciers, while others have never experienced rain despite being the same distance from tropical rainforests. This geographic impossibility creates situations where neighboring villages have completely different farming seasons, clothing styles, and survival strategies based on their individual microclimates. Think your weather is unpredictable? Peru has communities where weather forecasting is impossible because conditions change every few miles. Number 8. One park in Peru holds the world record for biodiversity, containing more species than entire countries possess. One of the best places to go to grasp the sheer range of its diversity is the Manu National Park. This park holds a biodiversity record after recording more than 1,000 species of birds, 1,200 species of butterflies, and 287 species of amphibians and reptiles in 2014. Wait until you find out that this single protected area contains more bird species than the entire United States and Canada combined, plus butterfly diversity that exceeds most tropical countries' total insect populations. Picture walking through a forest where you could discover a new species just by looking under the right log, knowing that scientists are still finding creatures that have never been cataloged by modern science. Part of the Amazon rainforest, The Peruvian Amazon covers 60% of the country and is home to around 20% of all bird species in the world. You heard right, Peru's Amazon region alone contains 1/5 of every bird species on Earth, making it more biodiverse than entire continents. Here's the mind-bending reality. You could spend decades in Manu Park and still encounter new species regularly, because this ecosystem is so rich that even veteran biologists are constantly surprised by what they find. Think your local nature preserve is diverse? Manu Park makes tropical paradises look like biological deserts by comparison. Number 7. Peru is home to over 3.5 million alpacas. That's more than the rest of the world combined, and their wool is more valuable per ounce than silver. Over 3.5 million alpacas call Peru their home. So don't be surprised if a curious alpaca or two find their way into your picture when you visit this beautiful country. You heard right. Peru contains roughly 80% of the world's entire alpaca population, making these fluffy creatures more common than sheep in some regions. Premium alpaca wool sells for over $40 per pound, with the finest vicuna fiber reaching $300 per pound. That's more expensive than precious metals. Picture driving through the Andes and seeing herds of animals whose fleece is literally worth more than gold jewelry casually grazing on mountainsides like living treasure chests. Think cashmere is luxury? Alpaca wool is so superior that fashion houses pay premium prices for fiber that's warmer than sheep's wool, softer than silk, and naturally water-resistant. Here's the crazy part. These alpacas are so well adapted to Peru's extreme altitudes that they thrive at elevations where most animals would die from oxygen deprivation, making them perfectly evolved living factories for the world's most expensive natural fiber. Sounds unbelievable, but these adorable creatures represent a multi-billion-dollar industry that makes Peru the global capital of luxury textile production. Number 6. A plant in Peru takes up to 150 years to flower just once, then dies immediately after producing 30,000 blooms. The Puya Raimondi can grow to a height of 5 meters. This plant takes between 80 and 150 years to flower, and once it does, it can produce over 30,000 white blooms. Picture a plant that lives longer than most humans, spending an entire century preparing for one spectacular flowering event that lasts just a few weeks before dying. It's only found in the high Andes, growing at an elevation of 3,000 to 4,800 meters above sea level. You heard right. This botanical marvel exists only in Peru's extreme high-altitude environments, where oxygen is thin and temperatures regularly drop below freezing. Think century plants are impressive? The Puya Raimondi makes them look impatient, requiring multiple human generations to complete its life cycle while producing a flower spike so massive it can be seen from miles away. Here's the mind-blowing part. These plants are so rare and slow-growing that seeing one in bloom is considered a once-in-a-lifetime experience, with botanists traveling from around the world to witness something that happens less frequently than solar eclipses. The irony is both beautiful and tragic. After waiting over a century, this plant produces the most spectacular flower display in the Americas, then immediately dies, making it nature's ultimate example of delayed gratification followed by explosive celebration. Number 5. Peru was named the world's leading culinary destination in 2023, with Michelin star chefs flying there specifically to learn techniques they can't find anywhere else. In 2023, Peru earned 2 prestigious awards at the World Travel Awards, solidifying its reputation as a top destination. Peru was crowned the world's leading culinary destination and the world's leading cultural destination. You heard right. This South American country officially beat France, Italy, and Japan for culinary supremacy, with Michelin star chefs from many different countries flying to Lima and Cusco to learn how to master their trade. Picture world-renowned chefs who charge $500 per meal in their own restaurants traveling to Peru as students, learning techniques from indigenous grandmothers who've never heard of molecular gastronomy, but create flavors that can't be replicated anywhere else. The potato is a superfood, containing almost every kind of vitamin you need. Its birthplace? Peru. Wait until you find out that Peru grows over 3,000 varieties of potatoes. That's more potato diversity than the rest of the world combined, with some varieties containing protein levels that rival meat. Here's the shocking reality. While the world considers French cuisine the gold standard, Peru's culinary tradition combines indigenous ingredients with techniques that predate European colonization by thousands of years, creating fusion cuisine that makes French cooking look one-dimensional. Think your local restaurant scene is diverse? Peru's capital Lima contains more culinary innovation per square mile than Paris, Tokyo, and New York combined. Number 4. The Andean condor found in Peru has a 10-foot wingspan, can soar for hours without flapping its wings, and appears on more national emblems than any other bird in the world. The Andean condor is native to the Andes mountain range in Peru. It has a wingspan of 3.2 meters, stands at 1.2 meters tall, and can weigh up to 15 kilograms. Picture a bird so massive it's essentially a flying person, standing 4 feet tall with wings that stretch wider than most parking spaces. Because of their large size, these birds like to live in windy areas like Peru's Colca Canyon, where they can use the air current to glide for hours with minimal effort. You heard right. These aerial giants are so perfectly adapted to mountain thermals that they can fly for hours without a single wing flap, making them nature's most efficient long-distance travelers. The bird features on 4 national shields: Bolivia, Chile, Colombia, and Ecuador. Wait until you find out that condors can live over 70 years and don't start breeding until they're 6 years old, making them one of the longest-lived birds on Earth with reproduction cycles that span decades. Here's the mind-blowing part. Despite weighing 33 pounds, these massive birds can detect carrion from over 15 miles away and soar at altitudes where commercial aircraft fly, making them perfectly evolved for life in the world's most extreme mountain environments. They are under threat due to poisoning, habitat loss, illegal hunting, and the wildlife trade. Think eagles are impressive? Condors make them look like sparrows, yet these magnificent creatures are disappearing so fast that seeing one in the wild is becoming rarer than spotting celebrities. Machu Picchu was built using stones weighing over 50 pounds each, transported up a mountain without wheels and aligned perfectly with astronomical events using technology that shouldn't have existed. Despite the fact that Machu Picchu is made up of many stones weighing over 23 kilograms, no wheels were used to transport these rocks up the mountain. It is believed that hundreds of men pushed rocks up the steep mountainside to build this wonder of the world. You heard right, the Incas built one of the world's most precise architectural marvels using human power alone, moving multi-ton stones up nearly vertical mountain faces without modern machinery. Archaeologists have learned that the 14th century Incas had an excellent understanding of the alignment of the stars. The civilization built each sun temple and the sacred Intihuatana stone to line up with the sun for each solstice. Picture ancient engineers calculating celestial movements with mathematical precision that rivals modern astronomy, then constructing buildings that function as massive stone calendars capable of predicting solar events centuries in advance. Here's the mind-bending reality. Machu Picchu's stones fit together so perfectly that you can't slide a knife blade between them, yet they were cut and shaped without metal tools or measuring devices that existed anywhere else in the 15th century. Machu Picchu, often called the lost city of the Incas, was voted as one of the new 7 wonders of the world. Think modern construction is advanced? The Incas created earthquake-proof architecture that has survived 500 years of seismic activity while incorporating astronomical observatory functions that modern buildings can't replicate, making Machu Picchu simultaneously ancient and impossibly futuristic. Peru contains a fruit that has the highest concentration of vitamin C in the world, 100 times more than oranges, yet most people have never heard of it. Ever heard of the camu camu fruit? It grows in the Amazon rainforest and has a higher concentration of vitamin C than any other food in the world. You heard right. This tiny Amazonian fruit contains vitamin C levels so extreme that eating just one provides 6,000% of your daily recommended intake, making oranges look nutritionally pathetic by comparison. So if you're feeling a little jet-lagged after arriving in Peru, stop by the local supermarket, purchase a camu camu, and take a bite to give your immune system a much-needed boost. Picture a superfruit so potent that pharmaceutical companies are studying it as a natural alternative to synthetic vitamin supplements, yet it grows wild in Peru's rainforests, where locals have been eating it for thousands of years without realizing they possessed nature's most powerful immune booster. Wait until you find out that camu camu also contains powerful antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, and minerals that don't exist in such concentrations anywhere else in the plant kingdom, making it potentially the most nutritionally dense food on Earth. Here's the shocking irony. While the world spends billions on artificial vitamins and supplements, Peru's Amazon contains a natural pharmacy more powerful than anything science has created, growing freely in regions where indigenous communities have maintained perfect health for millennia. think kale is a superfood? Camu camu makes trendy health foods look like junk food, yet it remains virtually unknown outside Peru because it's too powerful and perishable for global distribution. Peru has people living and working inside active volcanic craters, breathing toxic gas daily because sulfur mining pays better than any other job available in rural areas. Deep in Peru's volcanic regions, miners descend into active craters every single day, working in conditions so extreme they make coal mining look safe, all because sulfur extraction pays up to $50 per day, more than teachers, nurses, or shop owners earn in rural Peru. These aren't desperate people with no options, they're calculated risk-takers who choose to work in 120-degree heat while surrounded by sulfur gas concentrations that would kill most people within hours, because the economic reality of rural Peru makes living inside an active volcano seem like the smart financial choice. You heard right. Entire families live in towns built around active volcanoes where children grow up watching their fathers disappear into toxic craters each morning, knowing there's a real chance they won't return due to gas poisoning, cave-ins, or volcanic activity. Picture waking up every day knowing your job involves breathing poison gas that turns your lungs yellow and ages you 20 years for every 5 you work, yet still choosing to do it because the alternative is subsistence farming that can't support a family. Here's the terrifying part. Miners work without proper breathing equipment while carrying 200-pound sulfur loads on their backs, climbing out of craters in toxic fog so thick they can't see their own feet, making this possibly the most dangerous occupation on Earth. Wait until you find out that some sulfur miners have been doing this job for over 20 years, developing supernatural tolerance to conditions that would instantly hospitalize most humans, all while living in communities where volcanic gases are so common that residents consider mildly toxic air normal. Think your work is stressful? These volcanic miners literally risk their lives every single day in conditions that would violate every safety law ever written, creating a parallel economy where proximity to death determines your paycheck, and Peru's economic inequality makes working inside an active volcano the most rational career choice available. So we've just discovered Peru's most incredible secrets. From floating reed cities to volcanic sulfur mines that pay better than office jobs, from 150-year flowering plants to mysterious alien-like drawings in the desert. Which one shocked you the most? Have you ever experienced anything this extreme in your travels? Subscribe now for more mind-blowing facts that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about South America and beyond.